say right now instead of all time, because there are so many TV shows that are coming out, and you know what I mean, like, they're just constantly, I don't know, but to me, like the movies, it's rare to have one come out and be like, oh yeah, that's gonna be my favorite movie of all time, you know what I mean? But shows, there are so many good shows out there. So I did it just like the last video. I did my top 10 favorite shows right now, plus 5 honorable mentions, because they just have to be mentioned, you know? Anyway, okay, so number 10 is going to be, and I'm gonna try and get this without a glare, but is Friends. Friends is so great. It's like, who hasn't seen Friends, right? I think my favorite character is Joey, but it's just because he's so silly and stupid. But I also, Ross is kind of a whiny baby, so I don't think he's my favorite. But Chandler, he might be my favorite. It's pretty tied between him and Joey, but my husband reminds me of Chandler so much. So it's like I married Chandler. Anyway, but yeah, it's just a show about a group of friends who live in New York and just their lives and stuff. Like, nothing major happens. It's just random everyday life stuff. But it's just really good, and it's funny, and yeah. And if I had to pick which character I would be, it would be Monica, because Monica is a clean freak, and I'm pretty sure that she has OCD, and I have major OCD. But I thought it was so funny. There's one episode of Friends where, I don't know, Monica's like, she hides Christmas presents or something like that, and somebody's looking for them. I think it might be like Rachel and Ross or something like that. Anyway, and they can't find the presents. Well, they go looking in this closet, and then you realize there's been this closet here in the scene, every scene, for years, and you never noticed it until they were like, hey, what's that closet? So they try and open the closet, and they can't because it's locked or something, and somehow they get it open. I don't remember, but they open it up, and it is just like a hoarder's mess in there, just like crazy. Just stuff is just shoved in there, and I lost it. I thought it was so funny, because I have that one closet where I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this, and I just shove it in there. But the whole rest of my house is just like immaculate clean. Everything is organized, everything has its place, except for that one secret closet. But anyway, yeah, number 10, Friends. Okay, number 9 is The Handmaid's Tale. I think it's on Hulu. And it's based off of a book. I think her name is Margaret Atwood. But the show is terrible. I mean, it's really, really good, but it is just awful. So, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like the world is totally different. Okay, so in the United States, this radical group has pretty much taken over the government in the United States, and they just have these really weird policies and stuff, like, weird ways of living their life, and for some reason a whole bunch of women have become sterile, like they can't have babies, and then there's a group of women that can, and so they basically enslave these women who are able to reproduce abuse, and, you know, they make them like they're sex slaves or whatever. It's awful. And then they steal their babies that they make. It's terrible. I mean, it's much more detailed than that, but it's just like, it's a show about women who become enslaved, and they try and escape, and they try to rescue the children that have been enslaved and stuff. The group is called Gilead, and they think that they're doing this for the greater good, and, you know, so they think that they're not doing anything wrong. But it's like, anyway, and they just released the, I think, fourth season. And I watched the first 3 episodes so far, because they released 3 episodes, and it's a really hard show to watch. It's like you have to be in the right mind frame to handle it, but it's so good. Like, I love it, but it's terrible. Okay, and then number 8, oh, I love this show, is the Goldbergs. Oh my gosh, I just found this show last year. I think it was May of last year. And I had run out of shows to watch on Netflix and Hulu and stuff, you know, and I was looking for something that wasn't, I didn't have to really pay attention to, you know, I just wanted background noise, because they had taken The Office off of Netflix, which was the worst decision ever. But yeah, I just wanted a quick, you know, like 20-30 minute show that I could pop on and, I don't know, not have to get too into, and that would make me laugh or whatever. So I had this in my watch list for a really, really long time. And I finally was just like, ugh, alright, I'll watch it, because I wasn't that into it, because it's a show about a family based in the 80s, and I hate the 80s. I think it's the worst. Don't kill me. I know a lot of people love the 80s, but I just think it's the worst. Like, everything about it just makes me cringe. Just yuck. But anyway, I know a lot of people like it, so sorry. But so I started watching the show, and I immediately fell in love. This, I would say little boy, but he's not really a little boy. When the show first started, I think he was like maybe 10 or something, I don't know. But it's just about him, and it's based off of a true story, like his life and how he grew up in the 80s. And it's just between him and his sister and brother and parents and stuff. And at the end of every episode, he puts real clips, because he was very into movies. He was like a theater geek, that kind of thing. And he had a camcorder, a VHS camcorder, and he used to make home movies all the time. So all his childhood memories are right there on the tapes. And each episode, he will play a little clip of something from one of those videos that the show is based on, or something like that. And he actually, sometimes at the end of the show, he'll have the real people, like his high school teachers or neighbors or friends or whatever. He'll have them actually on the show at the end talking about it or whatever. Sometimes he'll actually be in an episode. I don't know, but it's just really, really funny. And even though it's based in the 80s, like the relationships between the parents and the kids and the brothers and sisters and stuff, it's very accurate to, you know, the childhood that you had. Kids' childhoods now, you know, like, I kind of grew up in the 90s, and it still, I mean, I don't know, even though it's set in the 80s, I just feel like the show is so timeless, and I love it, and it's so makes you feel good inside, you know? Okay, number 7. This Is Us. Oh my god, this show is so good. It's just about these 3 kids who are triplets. But one of them is not their actual brother. It's 2 brothers and a sister, and one of them isn't actually their brother. The mom was pregnant with triplets, and then one of them died. And the same day, somebody had a baby. I think it cut his face off. Anyway, somebody had a baby, and they didn't know what to do, so they had left the baby at a fire station. Well, the fire station brought it to the hospital, and the dad was looking at his 2 babies and being sad about his 3rd one missing, and he was like, whose baby is that, you know? And one of the doctors had said something about what happened, and he was like, he just couldn't have that. So he talked to his wife, and they were like, you know what, let's go ahead and adopt the 3rd one. We have everything for 3 babies. This baby needs a home. We were expecting 3 babies, you know, so we have 3 times as much love to give. So they adopted the baby, and they just all grew up together, and it's just about their life and stuff. But what's really cool about this show is they are able to go back into the past, present, and the future. It's so cool because, you know, movie magic, makeup, and all that stuff. And anyway, it's just really good. But the thing about it is, it's so good. I don't know, it's just so good. But every single episode from day 1, I have to prepare myself to watch the show, because by the end of the episode, I will be in tears. And my husband, like, he would always be like, what's wrong, you know? Because I would watch it on my phone or something while he's playing games. And he's like, why are you crying? And I was like, no, nothing, it's fine. And it got to the point where I was like, I need to prepare you. I'm about to watch This Is Us, so when you see me cry, don't worry. And he was like, why do you watch a show that makes you cry? And I was like, because it's so good. Sometimes it's a sad cry, sometimes it's a happy cry, like a feel-good cry, you know, like a scared, worried cry. Like, I never knew how many different types of crying I could have until this show came into my life. But it's so good, and it's so worth it. So whenever I do watch the show, I have to take my contacts out because I don't want to ruin them. Anyway, so good. And if this show ever goes off the air, I'll probably start crying and never stop. Like, it's just so great. Okay, the next one is Stranger Things. This is number 6. Stranger Things. I mean, yes, it's based in the 80s, which I hate, but for some reason, I love this show. It's so great. It's about this girl right here, Elle, or 11, and she has, I don't want to say magic powers, but she has powers that the government did testing on her mother or something, and she was pregnant at the time and wasn't aware, or something like that, I don't know. And when the baby was born, they stole her from the mother and told the mother that she miscarried her. It was a stillborn birth or whatever, and they stole the child and raised her as like a medical experiment, you know. And yeah, but she's got powers and stuff, and then like she escapes, and this government agency has torn through to an alternate dimension or something, and there are like these crazy so excited to see what they're gonna do next, you know, and the kids, like, you actually watch them grow up, and it's really cool. I don't know. Yeah, so we didn't get it last year because everything was closed down for coronavirus or whatever. I think they're filming now, so it may come out at the end of 2021, but it might not come out until 2022. But, so that means that it's been at least 2 years, and like, these kids are at the age where they grow so fast, so like, they're not gonna be kids anymore, they're gonna be full-on adults. So that'll be interesting, but it's really, really good. I love it. Okay, the next one, number 5, is American Horror Story. I love this show so much. It's on FX, and it's an anthology, so for the first couple of seasons they used all the same cast. Yeah, they use all the same cast, and it's just a scary story every time, you know, like, I think Murder House and Roanoke, is that what it was called? Cult and Apocalypse Hotel, Freak Show, I don't know, Coven. And then I think last year was 1984. I'm so done with the 80s shows, but like, I watched them all. It's weird. Anyway, I cannot wait to see what the one that's gonna be coming out next is like. Oh, I can't wait. And my favorite character is Evan Peters and Sarah Paulson. Like, those two are my absolute favorite. Jessica Lange was really, really good too, but she said she's not going to be coming back to the show ever again. She was like, yeah, that part of my life is done. I want to do something else, you know? But she was such a good actress. But, yeah, Evan Peters is like, what? And one of my favorite characters is from the very beginning, Murder House, Tate. And, they're shooting, or filming the, season, I don't know, season 10, maybe, right now. And, I'm very excited because it's like, what is gonna happen? Because, I think TMZ or somebody, one of those paparazzi things, they took pictures of him on the set, you know, like, without them knowing, and, they published him, and I was like, what? Because it looked like Tate was gonna be coming back, and I was like, Tate, and I texted my husband, and I just, in all caps, I was like, Tate, and he was like, what are you talking about? And I showed him the picture, and he was like, oh my god, I can't wait, because Tate is one of his favorite characters too. But yeah, it's just a bunch of different scary stories, and the episodes are usually like 10 episodes per season or something like that. Anyway, it's just really, really good. If you like scary things or like creepy, you know, anthologies, you should check that out. Okay, the next one, Peaky Blinders. Oh my gosh, I love this show so much. Okay, number 1, it's like, I think it's based in the 20s or something like that, which is one of my favorite time frames. Like, I used to like Boardwalk Empire, but that was a long time ago. I still love it, but it's not one of my favorites. Like, I wouldn't watch it over and over again. These are my favorites because I will watch them over and over and over again. And I have. Every time I wait for a new season to come out, I like just binge the other seasons, waiting for the new one to come out. But Peaky Blinders, it is, I think it's on BBC, maybe BBC 2 or something like that, I don't know, but it's also on Netflix, and it's a show about, I think the Peaky Blinders are actually a real like gang from 1920s in England, and they like did gambling and alcohol, that listeners, I don't know. But see, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a little blade in their hat, and like if you messed with them, they would bam headbutt you, and that little blade would like cut your eyes and stuff. Like, but anyway, yeah, it's just a story about these. I think 3, maybe 4 brothers. I don't know. I can't remember. So many people die in this show. This is one of those shows where it's like, don't fall in love. Don't fall in love with any of the characters because they might die. Yeah. Now I'm sad because I'm thinking about a character that died. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen the show and that's going to. But it's super good. Yeah, it's just really, really good. It's based in the 20s. Gangsters. I love it. Okay, the next one, number 3, is The Crown. Trying not to get a glare. Okay, number 3 is The Crown. I have binged this show probably about 8 times. And I'm talking every season. Every season. I'm obsessed with The Crown and the royal family, all that stuff. I know that this is exaggerated, but it's based on stuff that really happened to them, you know, so I don't care. I love it. I just wonder, it's like, do they watch it? Because I know Prince William, I know he said that he's seen a couple of episodes, which means that he's watched it, but he didn't really comment on the accuracy of it or anything. But I'm just like, does the queen watch this? Like, is she, you know, like, how accurate is it? I want to know. But anyway, it's super, super good. So if you like the royal family, yeah, this is great. And Claire Foy is probably so far the best Queen Elizabeth. Like, just, I love her so, so much. Okay, number 2, The Kennedys. Yeah, it kind of cut his face off when I got it. But, yeah, so this is Greg Kinnear, and then that's Katie Holmes. Greg Kinnear is JFK, and then Jackie is Katie Holmes. Okay, number 1, I love this show because I'm obsessed with the Kennedys, like the whole family. Like I'm obsessed with the royal family. I'm obsessed with the Kennedys. Like, I've read every book, biography, unauthorized autobiography kind of things. I've seen every movie, show, all that kind of things. I just really, really like the Kennedys, and you never know, like, you only get what biographies tell you and stuff, but you don't get like the emotions, the connections between the family members and stuff from reading those or watching the biographies. But this show makes them real. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just about the Kennedys, not just, you know, John F. Kennedy, but his brothers, his sisters, his parents, you know, their kids, that kind of thing. But yeah, it says it's an epic 8-part movie event, but it's like, no, that's not a movie, that's a show, that's like a mini series, you know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, I have watched it over and over and over and over. I actually have it on DVD. I have it on Amazon. Like, I don't know, it's super, super good. And it's like I've seen it 100 times, but I don't care. I will watch it over and over forever. show of all time. This is of all time forever. I don't care what shows come out. This is the best one forever and ever and ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? I am a fan. This is the greatest show to ever exist ever. And it's literally about nothing. It's about it's like a mockumentary kind of thing, where they talk to the camera and stuff, you know, but it's just this camera that follows, you know, people who work at a paper company. I'm sure you've all seen it, but that's basically what it is. And then it follows their lives, or not a lot of their lives. It's just stuff that happens at the office, but there are some things that happen outside of the office that you get to see as well. But it's just so good and funny, and yeah, my favorite character is Michael. I just love him so much. I love Steve Carell. He is one of the greatest comedic actors. Like, he's one of the greats, you know. He's just so good. And I love Dwight. Dwight is so so weird. I was listening to the podcast, because there's a podcast called The Office Ladies, and they just go through each episode and talk about behind the scenes and what happened and whatever. And Jenna Fisher, Pam, said that she did her audition with John Krasinski, but while she was waiting, she was in the waiting room with Rainn Wilson, Dwight, and she said that she was like, oh my god, this guy is super weird, because she was unaware, but Dwight came to the audition in character. So she met Dwight, not Rainn Wilson, and she was like, oh my god, this guy is super weird. And then she had to go into an audition and like be with him, and she was like, but then she realized, oh my god, he's in character, this is great. But anyway, can you imagine meeting Dwight in real life? Like, what? I'm sure there are people out there that are like him, but I don't know. It's my favorite show, and my favorite episode, like many other people's favorite episode, is the dinner party. That episode is just so funny and awkward and cringy, and like, you just want to get out of there, but you can't, because you have to stay and watch. It's so good. I love it. Like, I wish they would bring it back, but then again, I don't, because I think it would ruin the magic that they had, you know what I mean? Like, what would the show even be about? You wouldn't want them to come back, because then that means their lives took totally different turns, you know what I mean? I don't know. But I'm very sad, because Netflix took it off, and they put it on Peacock or something, and you have to pay for it. Like, you can get the first season with free access, but it's with commercials, and then that's it. And it's like, what? So I'm just gonna have to buy it on Amazon. Yeah, I've been very sad without it. So okay, that was my number one. The next ones are just honorable mentions. They're not in any specific order, but they're ones that I really like, and I wanted to share them as well. like the awkwardness of it and just everything about it, like puberty, yuck, right? But they make it so funny. Like, I can't drink or eat anything when I watch the show because I have choked laughing. I've spit water out. Like, it's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. And I think one of the creators is Nick Kroll. Is that his name? I'm not sure if that's how you say it. I don't know. But this is based off of his real life experiences growing up and going through puberty. So when you watch the episodes, you're just like, oh my god, did that actually happen? I mean, it's obviously exaggerated for the show, but some of the stuff actually does happen. So I don't know. It's really good. Really, really good. Okay. The next one is The Last Kingdom. And this is, I don't even know what year this would be. Like maybe 1300 or something. I don't know. It's like way long time ago. But it's about this man. His name is Uhtred, and when he was a little boy, he was a Saxon, I think, and the Danish army or whatever came into his town and basically raided it and killed his father, and his uncle basically traded him to the Danes to save their village or whatever, which is super effed. And so he had to, he left, he was forced to, and at first he was kind of like a slave to the Danes, but then they, I don't know, like raised him as one of their own, and he began to love the Danes, but he also liked the Saxons. I don't know, he has to like fight internally because he's part of both, and he just gets himself in some tricky situations as he gets older, but it's like super good, and it is like historical, but I think it's a historical fiction, because I do know that Uhtred did exist, but I don't think that this is the specific Uhtred. I think that they just, I don't know, but it's super good, and it's super violent and dark and just, whoa, like, it's just really, really good. Okay, and the next one, total shift in shows here, but this is called The Midwife, and this is, I believe it's on BBC, but it's also on Netflix, and this is, I think it's in the 1960s, after the war, and it's just about these midwives, these nurses that live in Poplar, and like after the war, people were just, spitting out babies left and right, so they had to have lots of midwives around to deliver the babies because there wasn't enough doctors, and at that time, it was not cool to have a baby in a hospital. Like, that was like almost looked down upon, like, oh my god, I would never do that. I mean, later it becomes more of the norm, and it almost seems like the midwives are getting phased out, and like, I know that they do get phased out, so it's like sad. I don't want that to happen because I'm like full on involved in their lives and stuff, and you just don't want to see that happen because the midwives are really, really good. They're good at their job, and they're good at making people feel comfortable and safe, and but I started watching this show about six years ago. I it's always, something always goes wrong, or, I don't know, not every time, but like, some of the stories are just awful. But I could not sleep. I had insane insomnia when I was pregnant with my son, and so I was just up, you know, until 3 o'clock in the morning watching shows. And yeah, I watched this show, and it is just really, really good. Okay, the next show is Superstore. Oh my god. If you have ever worked in retail, you've got to watch this show. It just ended, so it's not on air anymore, but you can still watch it on Hulu. But this show is so, so funny. They work at a store called Cloud9, and it's almost like if you were to take Walmart and Target and squish them together. That's what it reminds me of. I used to work at Target like a billion years ago, and this show is very, very accurate. But they have these little clips in between scenes of stuff that customers are doing in the aisles or not watching their kids or whatever. And it's just those little clips that are like so funny because it's the most accurate show I've ever seen in my life. It's great. And it's super, super funny. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Okay, and the last show is Derek. I believe this is a BBC show as well, but you can also watch it on Netflix. And this has Ricky Gervais in it. He is my most favorite of all time comedian. It's like, he's amazing. He is a comedic god. And I say that because this man can say anything or do anything, and he can make it so funny. If it's the most extremely inappropriate or rude thing, like, somehow he will make you laugh about it. He can do whatever he wants, and nobody can say anything to him because it's just funny. He's not offending people or anything. He's just turning bad things into funny situations sometimes. Not in the show, but just if you watch any of his stand-up comedy shows, like on Netflix or whatever. Oh my god. He's the best. He is the greatest comedian ever. And he also was in the UK office, which is really good too. I prefer the American office, but the UK office is great as well. But this show it's about this guy named Derek, and he works in a retirement community, no, a retirement home with a bunch of like old people and stuff, you know, and there's like a nurse there and stuff, but, oh, yeah, it's like The Office and like Parks and Recreation, where it's a mockumentary. So they have these cameras follow them around, but they also get interviewed by the camera crew and stuff. Anyway, and then there's this one, like, strange character that's friends with Derek, but he's like homeless or something. He's like a homeless alcoholic that lives out of a van or I don't know. He's just super, super weird but funny. Like, this show is very slow, but it's hilarious. Like, I think there might be 2, maybe 3 seasons of it. And I was very sad when it ended because Ricky Gervais, like, he's a very good comedic actor, but he's also a very good, I don't know if it's drama, but it's like heartfelt, you know, like, he makes your heart feel so happy